Hello everyone, welcome to day 4 of the Sweet Jar class to go. This is our final day in the class to go. If you want to earn this class to go kit for free, there is still time. You have until May 31st to place your order. Your order needs to be a minimum of $50 before tax and shipping to get your class to go for free. There are extra bonuses if your order is at $100 or $150. And we are featuring the Sweet Jar bundle for the class to go this week. If you have not yet checked out this bundle, make sure you do. It's in my online store now. It was just released this month, so it's super fun, super new. Let's do a quick rundown of the cards we made this week. On Monday, we made this adorable fun fold card with the cookies. On Tuesday, we did this little hidden message little card here. I just love that one. Yesterday we did this adorable birthday card with the embossed greeting and all those candles in the jar. So cute. And today I have another fun fold card and it is so fun. This one might be my favorite, but who knows. So we are turning this jar into a jar full of honey. We're using that meant to be DSP and it opens like this. It is such a fun card. I can't wait to make this one. So lots of fun little details on this one. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started with all the stamping because we have a lot of stamping to get done on this one. So I'm going to set that aside. You're going to pull out that scrap piece of white or that half sheet of white in your kit. We're going to use this one more time for our cards. I'm going to pull out, let's stamp our jar. We're going to stamp our jar in a new ink called Darling Duckling. You can do Daffodil Delight. I wanted just a slightly darker shade than Daffodil Delight. I just stuck my whole finger in that. Hold on. Oh, let me clean off my finger real quick. I don't want Darling Duckling fingers. You can do it in Daffodil Delight if you don't have Darling Duckling. I just wanted the jar to be slightly darker. Now you're not really going to be able to see it. You can see it a tiny bit, especially in person. You can kind of see it. But because we're going to be coloring this jar to look like it's filled with honey, I'm not going to worry too much about the ink for this. So if you only have Daffodil Delight, by all means use Daffodil Delight. All right, we're going to stamp that on there. I might have gotten that a little too close to the edge, but we'll have to see. We're also going to stamp the lid in Petunia Pop. So I'm going to just stamp the lid, just find some blank space, stamp the lid. And we are also going to stamp the word sweetness in Petunia Pop as well. We're going to cut this out, so just stamp that along the edge somewhere. And was that all of our Petunia Pop? No, we're going to stamp the inside too. So, but let's, let me set this aside. Let's get our pieces to stamp on the inside. We'll get that ink back out. So you have a Pretty in Pink arch. We're going to do a little bit of stamping on this. And then you have a bigger piece of white in your kit. This one will be in the envelope of your kit. So this one is for the inside of the card. So let's grab that Petunia Pop ink again. And we're going to use that sending a little blank your way. This is going to go on the top left corner of that arch. Just like that. And we're going to put that sweetness right there. And let's grab that happy birthday greeting. And this is going to go right on the inside of our card. We'll try to get it straight. And now we're done with the Petunia Pop. We can put that away. So now finally we have our Daffodil Delight ink. And we're just going to stamp a couple hearts. This part is completely optional if you don't want to add the hearts. Again, you can, if you rather do Darling Duckling, by all means you do Darling Duckling. Darling Duckling is a little bit greener than Daffodil Delight. And so for the stamping for stuff like this, I wanted that bright yellow. So that is why I am doing the Daffodil Delight. All right, that is all of our stamping. So before we start punching stuff out, we're going to do some coloring for our honey, and I'm going to use Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blends for this. I'm going to use my dark Stampin' Blends, and I am going to go kind of in a U shape, but I'm going to heavily favor this left side, and then I'm just going to do a little bit on the right side. We're going to do a lot on the left side, along the bottom, and then a little bit on the right side. And I'm using my dark again for this. I'm going right up to the edge of that Darling Duckling line, and I'm not worried about making this too neat because I'm going to come in with the light and really blend it all out. But again, real heavy on the left side and the bottom with the dark. We want this to be a rich honey color. Really, really beautiful. All right, now we'll come in with the light, and I'm going to start kind of overlapping that line of the dark Daffodil Delight, because we want to soften up that line. We want everything to kind of blend together. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do the middle part, the middle of the jar last. So I'm just going to kind of work my way into the middle because I want that to be the lightest area. We'll just keep going over that. If you want to keep adding some darker honey shades to that, you could. Just keep adding some color to that. But again, just keeping that center area light just to get that kind of glare. All right, now as that dries, it's going to soften a little bit and it's going to look like rich honey. All right, so pretty, right? I just love it. All right, let's get some punching done here. Hopefully we didn't go too close to that edge. I think we're good. Punch that out. We're gonna punch our lid out over here, our little Petunia Pop lid. Punch that out as well. Oops, get a shift, there we go. Punch that out. And then I'm going to grab my scissors and we're just going to cut this greeting out. Okay. All right, so bring this back and then we can kind of really trim this up. And I just really want to trim it real close to the words because it's going to fit in that little area that we stamped on the arch. Okay, move all our trash out of the way. So we have these pieces ready to go. Let's bring in our arch. We're going to add our greeting to the arch with some dimensionals. Why not? Pop it up when you can, right? Okay, and this is just going to go right in there, sending a little sweetness your way. So cute. All right, let's add our jar. And I'm going to use some liquid glue to add the lid to my jar. So I'm just going to add some dimensionals to the back of my jar. And we'll peel off those backings. It's still a little bit wet from the alcohol ink from those blends, so it's kind of like, I don't want to stick right now. That's going to go right down here, kind of on the bottom right. And then I will just take a little bit of liquid glue, just run a thin line across the top of the jar. Or you can use dimensionals. If you have a little strip of dimensionals, you can always attach the lid that way. I'm going to put the lid of our jar on there. Cute, right? Almost done with our jar. In your kit, you'll have a piece of pretty and pink ribbon. And I wanted a bow on this, but I didn't want a big bow. And if you tie a big bow with this ribbon, it's pretty thick. So I wanted a much thinner bow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sharp ribbon scissors and I'm just going to kind of cut this almost in half. It's a little bit off of half, really. I'm just kind of cutting off this kind of binding on one side. And it definitely does not have to be perfect. I'm just going to cut that piece off. So you cut off the binding off on one side. Then I'm going to just kind of rough this up and just kind of pull out a lot of these fibers from the inside. And this is a really fun technique to really make your ribbons look nice and rustic. And we're just going to pull those out, pull out all of those fine little ribbons. And you can do as many or as few as you want, but you're going to be left with like this frayed edge. This really fun technique here. And now we can tie a fun bow with this. So I will just loop this around, tie a quick little bow. We'll kind of maneuver our ears and our tails here. And we want it to be a small bow because our jar is fairly small, so we don't want a giant bow on here. But I want all of those really fun, like rough edges. All right, I'm going to grab a glue dot. We're going to adhere this to our jar. And once it's on our jar, we can fluff it up a little bit more. So we can kind of fluff up those bows a little bit, the ears, and then we're going to cut the tails a little bit. But I love this little fringe ribbon look to it. It adds a nice little rustic touch, and it makes a much smaller bow. Now, if you don't want to do that, if you don't like that look, then by all means you could just tie a bow. No problem. Okay, let's keep moving to assemble our card. Let me get the rest of our card pieces out. So I have this little piece of old olive, which has been die cut with a border die, and that will be listed in the supplies. I don't know the name of this border die off the top of my head, but it will be listed in the supplies. You can shop right in my online store. We're just going to put that on the left side, just to add a little bit more interest and texture. All right, we're going to put some adhesive on the back of that inside piece, and let's grab our card base. So I have a Petunia Pop card base, and this one is 5.5 by 11, and it's scored at 1 1/4, 3 3/8, 7 5/8, and 9 3/4. So before we get up to all that folding, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down just so that we have that in place. So the sides are going to fold in, and then you're going to fold this extra little piece out, this 1 1/4 inch piece out, and they should meet in the middle like a little gatefold card. Beautiful. All right, now we're going to add a bunch of DSP to this. So you have 4 pieces of this old olive like honeycomb, and you're going to add those to the inside and outside of the cards. And then you have 2 pieces of the honey DSP, and that's going to go on those 2 panels. And all of this DSP is from the Mint, I think it's the Mint to Be or Cute as Can Be DSP. You'll get these pieces in your kit. And then of course, if you need more of this DSP, the supplies will be listed in the video description. There's a supply list you can just click and shop from. Okay. This pattern is so cute. I hate to cover up this pattern. Oh, look, we just ran out. Okay, we're gonna switch to a Stampin' Seal Plus because that is what is handy. It almost lasted, guys. We had 2 more pieces of DSP. It almost lasted. Look how cute this pattern is, though. I have a hard time gluing this pattern down. It is so adorable, but we want that honeycomb pattern. Okay. All right, let's bring in our card again now that all of our DSP pieces are sticky. So again, we're going to put these bigger pieces of DSP, we're going to put them one on the outside, each right here, so you can see them from the outside. And then we are going to open it up, and they will go on these inside pieces here too. Okay. Like this. Now DSP is so good. Don't forget to use your DSP. I know that we all kind of hoard our DSP, but it is so good, and it adds so much. You could always stamp backgrounds or emboss backgrounds, but why do that when you have gorgeous DSP? Okay, and those honey pieces just go on that outside edge there. So when you close it up and you open it, you get to see that DSP all over. So cute, right? All right, let's grab in our piece here, our arch, and we're going to put some dimensionals just on that left side. So only on the side that has that old olive border. If you put dimensionals on the whole thing, you're going to glue your card shut and it won't open. So we only want the dimensionals just on that left side. So we are going to just line up this arch. It should fit pretty perfectly across the top there. Just make sure that is nice and secured down. And so when you open it, you have this gorgeous card. Isn't it so fun? I think this one might be my favorite, but I don't know. They're all so good. All right, final finishing touches. We're gonna just add some rhinestones. I'm just gonna use a cluster of 3 on here. So I have 1 here, 1 up here, and then I put 1 on the DSP over here. All right, guys, that is it. That completes this series, this Class to Go series. I hope you guys love this card. Let me bring out all the cards that we made in this series. Remember, if you want to get this kit to make all of these cards, all you need to do is place an order in my online store, and I will mail you this Class to Go kit completely free. Make sure that order is at least $50 before tax and shipping, and you'll get this Class to Go kit free. Make sure to grab that sweet jar bundle in my online store. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button so you never miss a video of mine. I have some more fun stuff coming in June, so you don't want to miss that. You have until May 31st to place your order to get this Class to Go for free. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Until then, have a great day, guys. Thanks for joining me. Bye.